A very good afternoon to one and all. And today concept is about finite automata and regular expressions. And in today's class, I am going to explain about a most important theorem, and also I will make you to understand by doing the practice with the examples how to convert from DFA to regular expression, right? And here, see the diagram on all of you. See the slide that I shared to you all, and here this is an Kleene theorem. We can call it as an it is a Kleene theorem, clean closure like that, Kleene theorem. And first, what the theorem one is means for every DFA, there exists a regular expression R such that always the L of R is equal to L of A. That means what we are going to learn in this class is the conversion of DFA to regular expression. So here we are implementing the theorem 1, and what we are going to show here is both the finite automata and the regular expressions are interchangeable. Whether it may be an finite automata, whether it may be an DFA, or whether it may be an NFA, or whether it may be an epsilon NFA, whatever it may be, that comes under an finite automata. And here they are interchangeable. And by considering the theorem 1 and theorem 2, just by proving that those two are interchangeable. That means here we can do the conversion from expression to finite automata and finite automata to expression. That means vice versa conversion is possible here. So for that, here we are showing the theorem 1 and theorem 2 statements that both the finite automata and regular expressions are interchangeable. Just to show that those two are interchangeable, where learning the statements of theorem 1 and theorem 2, and with the diagram, with the diagrammatic representation, just I'm showing you where it is going to be implemented. And from DFA to regular expression, we are implementing the statement of theorem 1. And what the statement of theorem 1 is, for every DFA, just we are making an assumption that A is an DFA. And for that A, there is always and there is always an existing regular expression R should be existed. So that's why how we related these two means L of R is equal to L of A. What it means, the language that was accepted by the regular expressions are also accepted by the DFAs, right? And coming to the theorem 2, and here from the expression to epsilon and FA. What it means is for every regular expression R is always a regular expression, and here we make an assumption for the DFA that is an A, and here we are exempting an E, capital E, for an epsilon and FA, right? So for every regular expression R, there exists an epsilon and FA E. There exists an epsilon and FA E. And automatically, whenever it exists an epsilon and FA, then the both regular expression and the epsilon and FA are equal. So there we can do the interchangeable. And here also we can do the interchangeable conversions. So this is the way of representing an Kleene theorem, and by showing the theorem 1 and theorem 2 statements, and that's why there is a different direction path indication with a different color, like in blue for the theorem 2 and red for the theorem 1. What it means is here we're converting from DFA to regular expression, and here the theorem 2 implies is we're converting from expression to the epsilon and FA. So finally what we're saying from this Kleene theorem is the L of R equal to L of L of R equal to L of A, same as L of E equal to L of R, right? Interchangeable conversion can be applicable here, and we are going to learn how the interchangeable conversions can be taken place in further and further classes. And now we are totally concentrating on the conversion from automata to the regular expression. And here see the bidirection of these two. That means for the DFA, there is a bidirection of the both epsilon and FA and the NFA, but there is no bidirection to the regular expression, right? We already know how to convert from DFA to NFA, and we already know how to convert from epsilon and FA to DFA, right? And that means interchangeable conversion is not acceptable in this type of automaton, like an epsilon and FA or NFA or DFA, right? If it is an epsilon NFA, you can convert it into an NFA, then you can convert it into an DFA. That's it. But by taking an DFA, we can't convert it into an epsilon NFA, or we can't convert it into an NFA. There is no interchangeable between these two. That means these two with an DFA, right? Epsilon NFA, NFA, and DFA. Only there is an interchangeable conversion between the expression to DFA and an expression to an epsilon NFA, right? That means if you take an input in the form of an expression, then you can get an ability to convert it into an finite automata. If you take the input in the form of an finite automata, then you can convert it into an expression. So the vice versa conversions are possible here just by uh, implementing the theorems of 1 and 2. We are showing that L of R is equal to L of A and L of E is equal to L of R. This we can call it as an Kleene theorem. And next, coming to the most important concept of today's class, that is DFA to regular expression conversion using Adam's theorem. And here, why to use the Adam's theorem is this is the most important theorem you all should learn. And please understand what the theorem is and what the statement of the theorem is, and what coming to the statements and what the equations that we're having in the statements, and those equations are useful for converting from DFA to regular expression. So coming to the concept of conversion from DFA to regular expression, and here it is a most important theorem, Adam's theorem. What the Adam's theorem is, in order to find out and regular expressions of an finite automata, here we are using the Adam's theorem along with the properties of the regular expressions. We all know what the properties of the regular expressions in the last class I explained you, and along with the properties of the regular expressions, and here we are using an Adam's theorem. And what the statement of this Adam's theorem is, let us assume that P and Q be the two regular expressions. Up to now, we just assume E and F, or directly we assume with an capital R, but here we're making an assumption with the two uh, variables, that is P and Q. Capital P and capital Q be the two regular expressions. And here, if P does not contain the null string, then it can be written as R is equal to Q plus RP. If P does not contain the null string. If P does not contain the null string means what it means is does not accept the clean closures, right? It does not accept the property of the clean closure. So for that, how to write the equation means R is equal to Q plus RP is the equation. And this R is equal to Q plus RP has an unique solution by showing with an clean closure that what it is R is equal to QP star. So here we're having the two most important equations. What those two most important equations means, R is equal to Q plus RP, and from that you need to define an unique solution, R is equal to QP star. So these are the two most important equations, and where the P does not contains an null string in equation number 1, and from that we need to define we define an unique solution where the P contains an null string, right? And here the both P and Q are the regular expressions, right? And this is a statement of an Adam's theorem. Now see how to do the proof of this Adam's theorem. And first, equation number 1 is, what the equation number 1 is, R is equal to QP star. R is equal to QP star means uh, if P does not contain null string, then you need to take the equation like R is equal to Q plus RP, right? R is equal to Q plus RP. This is the equation that we're taking now. R is equal to Q plus RP. Again, after putting the value in the place of R again it contains Q plus RP, right? Then what it will become? Q plus QP plus, right, RPP, isn't it? When we put the value of R recursively again and again, what we get means we get the following equation like this: Q plus QP plus QP square plus QP power 3. Q of, that means by taking the common of this Q, what we're getting, epsilon plus P square plus P cube and so on. And what it means is, and how to define this epsilon plus P square plus P power 3. And here whenever the set contains an epsilon, and the set contains a single, double, triple like this, then what it means is here up to this set I'm talking, here we're having only a single input like NP, and for that single input alphabet it accepts the null string, and my combinations of all strings should be of single, double, triple like that. Then automatically it becomes an P star. then automatically it becomes an P star. So Q P star. R is equal to Q P star. So the P star represents like epsilon plus P power 2 P square plus P cube, so on. So this is the way of proving the theorem, proving the statement of the Adam's theorem. If P does not contain the null string, then R is equal to Q plus RP. Just you are taking an equation of R is equal to Q plus RP and you are showing an unique solution of R is equal to QP star. See here what we did here, R is equal to Q plus RP. What the R is? Again R is Q plus RP, right? At the place of R, again I substitute Q plus RP, isn't it? So recursively I'm substituting here, I'm having Q plus RP. Here I'm having R. In the place of this R, if again I use Q plus RP, again I substitute Q plus RP in the place of this R. Again I do Q RPP, Q RPPPP, and so on, like that we will get. What I did here is just by taking an equation of R is equal to Q plus RP, in the place of R I substitute Q plus RP. Then I get an equation of this. Then in the place of this R, again I substitute Q plus RP. Then I get this. And so on, if I substituting like this, I'm getting the values of P like this. Then totally what I did is I just taken common thing here. And in every QP square, and here in everything, I'm having the common word that is in Q. So just I'm taking the common of Q. And by after taking the common of this Q, then what it becomes is epsilon plus P square plus P cube, so on. And finally, this is an P star. This is a clean closure set. So this is a clean closure set for the alphabet P. So that's why we represented it as an P star. So finally, we get an unique solution of R is equal to QP star just by proving this thing, just by taking R is equal to Q plus RP, and we proved here like that. And this is an Adam's theorem. I think you all understand how to prove the Adam's theorem just by taking an input R is equal to QP. And first of all, you need to know the statement of the Adam's theorem. And the statement of the Adam's theorem consisting of two regular expressions, P and Q are the two regular expressions, and based on the two regular expressions, first initially there is an equation of R, and that R does not contains an in that R, in the equation of that R, the P does not contains a null string. Then it can be written as R is equal to Q plus RP. R is equal to Q plus RP. And finally, by solving this, by doing the proof of this, we get an unique solution of R is equal to QP star, right? What the thing that you need to know from this theorem is, you need to know these two equations. First, you need to know the equation number 1, R is equal to Q plus RP. Then you need to know what the unique solution from this is, R is equal to QP star, right? And now coming to the conversion examples. See here problem number 1. This is on problem number 1. And please make a note of this problem number 1, all of you. And we need to construct a regular expression corresponding to the automata given below. That means, and here we're taking an input in the form of an DFA, and now we're converting it into an finite automata, right? So see the procedure of how to convert the given DFA into the regular expression, and how many states that we're having here. Q1, Q2, Q3 states are there, and what the inputs are, A and B are the inputs. And here the Q1 and Q2, Q1 is an initial state as well as Q1 is also an final state. So from this automaton, first, what the thing that we need to do is, first of all, we need to write the equations of each and every state. Equations of each and every state. That means here the initial state and the final states are same. Q1 is the initial state and Q1 is the final state. And now you need to define the equations of the three states of Q1, Q2, and Q3. See how to define the equations of each state. First, we need to write down the Q1. First, you need to write down the equation for Q1 is equal to. And
Now, see the diagram. The arrow should hit with the input to that state. Hitting inputs along with the state, we need to consider those. Which arrow is hitting to that state? Now I am writing for the Q1, right? And for the Q1, which arrows are hitted here? And Q1 itself is having an arrow, and from Q3 we get an arrow, right? So only these two we need to take. And how to write the equation means state with the input we need to write. State with the input. That means Q1 is equal to Q1A plus, and another hitting state for the Q1 is Q3. So Q3A plus Q3A. And first thing for the initial state, we need to write an epsilon. Epsilon move because Q1 is an initial state of 0. So you need to write an epsilon. For the first equation, for the first state, you need to initial state, you need to write an epsilon after completing of writing all this, right? And coming to the Q2. And now for check for the Q2, which states are hitting to the Q2, and Q2 itself it is having an state, and from the Q1 it is an hitting state, and from the Q3 it is an hitting state. So Q2 is equal to initial state Q1B, Q1B plus Q2B plus Q3B. So these are the three states that are hitted to the Q2 with the inputs of BBB. And first of all, you need to write with an state along with an input, not an input with the state. First state, then you need to write an input like this. That means Q1B, Q2B. In between, you need to put an plus, plus, plus. That means you are combining all these. That's why we are putting with an union operation. You are defining with an union operation. So you need to use an plus operator in between each and every state. And coming to the Q3, and the Q3 is an third state here, right? So check in Q3, which states are getting hitted to Q3, and only one state is hitted to the Q3, and that is also in Q2 with the input A. So Q3 is equal to Q2A. So Q3 is equal to Q2A. So now we defined all the states, right? We defined all the states. We wrote all the equations for the three states of Q1, Q2, and Q3. And here it was completed. Step number 1 is completed. Now we need to go for the step number 2. And while going for the step number 2, once you all please remember what the equations that we're having for the Adam's theorem. And the statement defines that the equation number 1 is R is equal to Q plus RP, and it gives an unique solution like R is equal to QP star, right? So we need to check it out for the commonalities from these three equations. Commonalities means we need to solve these equations, right? So here Q1 is having, I need to map these equations to the equation R is equal to Q plus RP, right? I'm checking for the possibilities which equation is getting to be mapping to the statement of R is equal to Q plus RP. So while checking that, my equation of R is equal to Q plus RP does not contains the epsilon. So this equation number 1 should not map with my R is equal to Q plus RP. And coming to the Q2 equation number 2, and here I'm having a possibility. So directly I'm taking this equation number 2 and I'm doing the simplification. Once see here, Q2 is equal to Q1B plus Q2B plus Q3B, right? And where my third equation Q3 is Q2A. Q3 is Q2A. So what I'm doing here is just I'm substituting Q2A in the place of this Q3. Just I'm substituting equation number 3 where Q3 is equal to Q2A here at Q3, right? So now the equation becomes Q1B plus Q2B plus in the place of Q3 I substitute Q2A, right? So Q2A into B. Now it becomes Q2AB, right? And here I can take the common of Q2 because here I'm having the two Q2s. I can take the commonality of the Q2 like this: Q1B plus Q2 of B plus AB, right? And now Q2 is equal to, right? It is Q2 is equal to. And now I can map this with an equation of R is equal to Q plus RP, because in the equation of R is equal to Q plus RP, the both R should give the same state. The both R should show the same state. So for that we are doing all this. For that we are substituting all these here to solve the equations and to get map to the r is equal to q plus rp. And we are simplifying all this just by substituting the states, right? So finally we get q1b plus q2 of b plus ab. And here q2 is equal to, this is for the q2 is equal to, q2 is equal to, so q2 is equal to, now I am going to map, I am applying the addends here. And how I am applying the addends means q2 and q2, that means r and r are same. R and R are same here. Then R is equal to this can be considered as an Q plus this is R, right? And the remaining thing becomes P. Then after mapping the Adams theorem equation, then finally what the unique equation is? R is equal to QP star, right? That means Q2 is equal to what the Q here? Q1B, what the P here? B plus AB whole star. And this is an equation of the Q2. And now we get an fourth equation. This can be considered as a fourth equation, right? Now q2 gets an unique equation. Now we need to check it for the q1. So take the q1 is equal to, why we are going for the another state means here my final state is in q1. If I get an unique solution for the q1, then only I can stop the simplification by substituting all and all this up to the state of q1. I need to do all this process. I need to follow the procedure of this Adams theorem. I need to apply the Adams. I need to substitute the values of each and every state just by checking out the possibilities. And whenever we need to stop this means whenever you get an unique solution for the q1 in the form of r is equal to qp star, then you can stop, right? Otherwise you need to do for each and every state like this. And now I am taking q1 is equal to q1a plus q3a plus epsilon. And here already I get a solution for the q2. So what I'm going to do here is, again I'm substituting the value of q3 here. And what the value of q3 is q2a, right? And then it becomes q2aa plus epsilon. And already I get an output of q2, right? So I am substituting the value of q2 here now. The value of q2 becomes q1b of b plus ab whole star. So q1b of b plus ab whole star into the remaining thing aa. Right, now I'm doing the concatenation of these all, and it becomes q1bb plus q1ab whole star into aa. Right, now I am doing commonality state here is q1. So after doing the common of q1, then what the equation is, a plus b of b plus ab whole star into aa plus epsilon, right? Now this is for the q1, right? So q1 is equal to q1. And now I am mapping my equation r is equal to q plus rp here. Now my r is q1, and here this becomes an qp, this becomes an q, epsilon becomes an q, and r becomes an r, and the remaining equation becomes an p. And after mapping this with an applying the Adams theorem here and mapping each and every state with the Adams equation, then finally my unique equation is r is equal to qp star. What the q is epsilon, and what the p is here, a plus b into b plus ab whole star aa. Now it is epsilon into a plus b of b plus ab whole star into aa whole star. So epsilon into means epsilon is not having any value, so we can omit the epsilon and directly we can take the equation like this. Finally the regular expression is, and here why we didn't stop at the q2 after getting the unique solution for the q2, why we didn't stop there? My final equation does not contains any state, right? My regular expression does not contains the state, but here my Q2 is giving the state of Q1. So with this, I didn't complete my solution for getting an unique solution of my DFA, where it is in where to get in the form of a regular expression, right? So for that, I am taking the another state like in Q1 and I substitute the Q3 value, and again I substitute the value of the Q2, and finally I get an regular expression, right? And here itself I can stop. Why? Because here my equation does not contain the states, as well as whatever the equation, whatever the state I get, the output of this is Q1, where it belongs to the final state. And after completing uh, this, you can stop the procedure of applying the Adams theorem. Why? Because finally I get an expression here from the Q1 state. Q1 is an final state. Or else you can also show, or you can also simplify each and every state like this. See here, now I get an regular expression for the Q1, right? And this is a complete regular expression without having any states. And what the uh, equation for Q2 is here? Q2 is equal to Q1b of b plus ab whole star. And now I'm taking this equation number 4 and I'm substituting this expression into the Q2. I'm substituting this expression into Q1. Now what my Q2 get? My Q2 is a plus b of b plus a whole star into a whole star into b of b plus ab whole star. Now finally my Q2 is also with a complete regular expression. And same, what the Q3 is, what the equation number 3, again it is also an Q2a. Now I get the value of the Q2. See here, I'm showing you. And actually Q2 is equal to, and take the Q's as in small letters, not in capital letters. This one, right? And then it is equal to, Q2 is equal to, see, this is a complete regular expression for the Q2 state. And here also we get a complete regular expression for the Q1, right? So now what I'm doing here is to get the same regular expression for the Q3. Q3 is equal to, actually from the equation number 3, it is Q2a, right? See, finally what we get the regular expressions for the Q1 state and Q2 state, and as well as for the Q3 state. Now we can end the solution. Is it clear, all of you? And this is the process of converting from the given DFA to regular expression. First, step number 1 is you need to define the equations for each and every state. And then step number 2 is you need to choose the possibilities of applying the Adams theorem equation. Then after choosing the equation, you need to do the substitutions and finally get the regular expressions in this way. Right? Is it clear? Any doubts to anyone? If you have any doubts, you can ask, or else message in the chat box, or else unmute yourself and ask the question. Any doubts to anyone? This is the uh, Adams theorem application of the Adams theorem for solving or for converting the given DFA to the regular expression. This is a most important concept in our unit number 2. So please, I think all of you understood, or if you are having still anyone of you are having any doubts, you can ask, please. If you respond to me only, then I can understand whether You understand the concept or not?
Please do message in the chat box. I'll reply to those questions. No doubts to anyone, right? అర్థమైంది మేడం. So okay then. Ma'am, can you send the link of previous 2 classes? Which link? Are you asking for YouTube link? Please tell about Q3 state. Within 2 days, I will upload all our classes in our YouTube link. I think you all know our YouTube link. Sir, CRR CSC 2Y section 2. For section 1, it is section 1. You can sign in with that and you can see our classes. And after completion of this unit number 2, I will send the material, whether it may be in PPT or doc or PDF, whatever it may be, all the resources I will send to you. And please, all of you, go through the YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is CRR CSC 2Y section 1 for section 1 students and section 2 for section 2 students. And you please all go through the channel. Then there you get some videos of this course flat. And please, all of you view those classes, whatever I uploaded up to now. And for the remaining classes of, I think so, from 2 weeks onwards, I am not uploading these classes. And within 2 days, I will upload all those classes. Then those will be useful for as reference for you to you all. Okay. And now there is a question for 505. Please tell about Q3. And what the Q3 tell about Q3 means where how to write the equation for the Q3. I understand that is our doubt. See here, first, wherever the Q3 is there, I am going to explain for you. Just see here. And for equation up to, for Q1, I read an equation like this. That is equation number 1. For Q2, the equation is this one. That is equation number 2. And see for Q3, and which is hitting state to Q3. That means the arrow that is getting hitted to the Q3. Only and one arrow is getting hitted to the Q3. That state is Q2, right? So with which input it is hitted with an input A. So that's why we take Q3 is equal to Q2A. And uh, after doing the solution for the Q2 and after doing the solution for the Q1, we get an regular expressions, right? And first we get an regular expression for the state Q1, and that regular expression that we substituted in an Q2 equation. This equation we can call it as an equation number 4. And in this equation number 4, we substitute wherever we have the Q1, and finally we get the equation for Q2 is like this. And what the equation number 3 is, Q3 is equal to Q2A. Q3 is equal to Q2A. What it mean here, for Q2 we get an expression. So if you just substitute the expression in the place of Q2 means, finally you get an expression for the Q3, right? So that's the thing I did here. And in the place of Q2, just substitute the Q2 expression here. And actually from equation number 3, it is Q2A, and that's why it is A. Right? Now it is clear? 505, LE 505, is it clear now? Still any doubts to anyone? Okay. And please, all of you, make a note of this problem number 2 and get the solution. Note down this problem and get the solution. And here the input is an regular input is an DFA, and now you get the regular expression for this DFA. That means convert the DFA to regular expression. Do the conversion from the given DFA to regular expression. Please make a note of this example. In the next class, I'll explain you the reverse conversion, that is from expression to DFA. I will explain you in the next class. The concept of converting from expression to DF is also most important, because there we need to follow some cases like case 1, case 2 and case 3. Just we need to apply the cases wherever it is necessary, and finally we can get the automata for the given expression. These are the two most important concepts and vice versa concepts. DFA to regular expression and regular expression to DFA conversions are most important here.